This is IsAware, powered by Intersoft Associates. IsAware is your connection to exploring the systems and software that power businesses like yours with expert insight, experience, and advice.
Welcome back to IsAware. I'm Chris Bintliff, and I have with me today, as always, Abe Unger and Hi Goldstoff from Intersoft Associates. And Hi, we talk a lot about the benefits of custom software, upgrading, migration, moving on from older systems in context of efficiency, in context of performance. But you said something to me or shared something the other day that I thought was really interesting. And you shared that how a company treats its software and its technology is indicative or representative of its cultural concern for its employees. And I thought that was really interesting, and I'd love for you to expand on that. What do you mean by that? What's the relationship between my software and my employees and my concern for them?
Well, I don't think that it necessarily reflects their concern about employees, but it can be perceived that way by those employees. Employees, anybody who works for a company wants to feel that the company is concerned about them, wants them to grow, wants them to learn more. Nobody wants to be, stuck in some same old boring job, for the rest of their lives. They want to grow. They want other challenges. Most people. I guess a majority of people want additional challenges. They want things to be easy. They don't want to have to, work hard to do stupid things. And the perception may be, especially today, this may not have been the case 10 years ago, certainly not 40 years ago, is if they don't care about me, to make my job easier and let me perform, where I've got to do all of these, stupid tasks to get to the result I want that I want to achieve. Maybe I should go somewhere else where they'll value me and my time better, where I can grow better. And the only way you grow is by learning, not by finding ways to get around problems. So, the computer, and I always believe that the computer is a tool to help someone do their job better. It's not their job. And most employees want to do their job better. So in today's world, when you feel that you're not being valued, you might start being nitpicky on other stuff that are really insignificant, but it becomes larger in the grand scheme of things.
I can give you a perfect example, by the way. Recently and internally, we have a time system. We enter time, and one of the employees had a great idea for an enhancement that would make her life much easier based on how she records her time during the day and how we would input that into the system. And not only was it a great idea, and it was a great enhancement to an internal system. So that's something that's not public facing. It's not out there for anyone. It's just for us to use to get time done. But we were able to use that to do a proof of concept on some new technologies as well, which again is something that's internal. That doesn't affect anybody's business, but it gives us the ability to try out some new software and see how that works. So it's a win-win in that their job was easier. They can get their information in the system quicker. And as everybody in the computer business, as I was saying, they got to play with some new technology, some new toys. Let's see, how does this work? Let me try this out. And by doing that, learn about this new technology and will this new technology apply or can be used for other clients? So a simple internal task taking into account a minor complaint, I wouldn't even call it a complaint, but an idea for an enhancement to improve the system and give them what they needed. So
it's a triple win because now because the data is, we're getting the data as it's being accomplished, we're getting better, we're getting more accurate data as opposed to someone sitting at the end of the day, what did I do today? So they only have to enter the data once and done.
You guys are bringing up some really interesting points. And one is, I think some organizations can feel like, I don't know if adversarial is the right word, but that they are the only ones, leadership or the infrastructure is the only ones interested in making the work easier or more efficient or, more time or cost effective. And part of what you're saying is, in your experience, no, employees want that too. everybody on the team wants to feel like they're doing their best work, which, as you point out, Hai, should not be confused with is doing their best managing of technology before they can even get to their work. For me, that's about empowerment. Do you agree? That's about helping as you just pointed out in your example, helping the employees feel like they have a stake, kind of an ownership in how things go and in how things run.
Absolutely. It shows that you are concerned about their growth, and it shows that we're in this together. It's not, it's not 40 years ago. It's not a serf and a fief. We're all in this together, and we're not successful unless each and every one of our employees is successful. And so that's our philosophy. It's our philosophy in developing software, and it can be a sign if companies, if their software is difficult. People at some point in today's world, where there are more jobs than people looking for them, and if they just don't feel that they're not being heard, they're not being valued, it's easy enough to go somewhere else and probably make more money.
Abe, I love what you point out about innovation and how sometimes the internal ideas, if you think back to the old days of Google, where 20% of your time should be spent on something, and that's how Google Maps showed up. When an empowered employee can say, kind of advocate for an idea, hey, I have something I want to do. And then when talented programmers can put that to work, and then the strategic minds in the organization can say, you know what? I mean, that's how Slack was born. It was just an internal communication system for a game developing company. And here we are. What is the connection for you, Abe, between those threads? What is the connection between sort of empowerment and ideation and innovation and collaboration when it gets to the point of it started here small and now it's a big client-facing opportunity?
Sure. So a business owner may be thinking of a way to use software to enhance whatever it is that they're doing, or to generate reports, or to help make decisions. But one of the most difficult things in new software or enhanced software is getting the people who do the actual work to buy into that. Mm-hmm. And part of that is getting their thoughts on the process and talking to them as part of that process to understand what do they do, what's their job requirement, what are they trying to do out of this, and what can they gain out of this program. So it's not just a mandated here, do this because I said so. It's more like, here's an idea. What are your thoughts? And then all of a sudden they start saying, oh, this is great. Now I can do this. What about this? What do you think about this? So that process becomes growing, and it's not just someone with an idea that says, let's do this. It's more of a collaboration where all of these people get to feel it. And once the people who are going to use it feel that they're taken seriously and their opinions are heard, they're much more likely to use the software and do it well and perform better because they're buy-in. They have skin in the game.
It also makes the functionality that much better because they want it to succeed. They know how it'll help them, and oftentimes functionality beyond what management originally had envisioned. So, and their feedback is being heard, and that's the very few times that that we haven't done that. It always became a problem of sorts. Not a major problem, but certainly a release 2 had to happen, and management wanted to be the only ones that did it, and they wanted it done in a corner. Once people came out with feedback, it became so much better. And in one system, someone had the idea that we're getting this data, can we do this? And the answer was yes. And voila, $3 million a year in savings.
Wow. Is there a relationship between what I experience as sort of a consumer, and I don't just mean buyer of things, but I mean person who consumes media? I'm thinking about this really convenient glass brick in my pocket and all the things I can do with it. And I can track this and I can access that. And everything is, 2 taps away. And then I go to work and I'm presented with nothing but friction, or I've got to I've got to email somebody a PDF, or I've got to fill something out by hand. Do I come into work in the modern era with different expectations about sort of, this is the basic understanding that I have, that technologically this organization is going to be able to do. And if I'm let down on that, what does that mean for me? What does that do for my morale or for my, I don't know, my health as an employee?
Well, absolutely, because that's what people are expecting. It's technology and it's new and shiny and fancy, and they're expecting in their work environment to have the same conveniences. And in today's day and age, there's little reason not to. And if you don't take them seriously and you're not listening to what your employees' feedback is or what they have to say, you're losing out. And by doing that, they feel neglected, and nobody wants to feel neglected. So they're going to look for something else. So the better employees will be more pushy, but still at some point, you bring up a suggestion, you say it again and again, and no one's listening to you, you stop suggesting. And that's the worst thing you can do, is to have people to stop thinking and stop trying to improve on a process because they're not taken seriously.
Well, the worst thing, I agree with that, but take it one step further. The worst thing is the employee who doesn't provide the feedback and just gets frustrated and internalizes it, and at one point says, I'm gone. And if you get a lot of that, many companies just aren't prepared for that.
It's a really interesting point around, I don't know, even the culture of an organization and the relationship that leadership have with employees. And there's a sense that technology just helps us do our jobs. And part of what I'm really hearing you guys say today is it helps us feel a certain way about our jobs and about the place that we work. And that's essential. How many of us, have said, yeah, I don't really love the work I do, but I love the team I'm with, or whatever. If we have some emotional connection to where we work, and if it's clear that the organization is trying to create and provide infrastructure to help us do our jobs better, that goes so much further. People are so much more patient. Don't you agree, Hai? When it feels like at least you're working on it, then our ideas aren't even heard and nobody even seems to care. People will put up with a lot when it feels like they're part of the discussion.
It helps to show that it's a two-way street. We need you to do work for us, and we're going to help you do that. We're going to help you grow. And like I said, I don't necessarily think it's the only thing that will cause people to pick up and go across the street. But I think if that is a problem in the organization and they're running with just old software that's clumsy and clunky, and two people can't update data at the same time, there are other things going on there also that where they just don't want to. Where they're not investing in their intellectual capital and their people capital, and this is not a monolith. There would be other things, and this is easy to fix. And at the end of the day, it will also, if done properly, will also provide additional benefits, money saved, time saved, in some cases, revenue increased. So by improving the business and by improving the operations, you're also increasing your employee retention rate, which has other expenses with, unemployment and all of that. But beginning about just replacing somebody.
And it's especially poignant for maybe the small business that started out. We've talked before how when you had 2 or 3 or 5 people, you were using, Microsoft Access or whatever, and it was fine. But now that you've grown, it isn't. That same sort of thread can be pulled, Abe, where, look, when you started and there were 3 of you and you were all on the same wavelength, it was a lot easier. But now that there's 13 of you, we have to do things differently to accommodate different perspectives and familiarity with technology and responsibilities and things like this. We have to be able to adjust and grow. That's a part of our responsibilities as leaders.
Right. And that's a constant improvement. It's a cycle. It's something that you keep reviewing, you keep coming back to, and how can we improve? How can we get better? And those are the kinds of things that are discussions. And those are great when the employees have a say and they have a real feel for the company, because they'll be vocal. And using that, you can make better decisions. You can make the improvements that are needed.
Guys, I really enjoyed this conversation. I think I'd like to have another one maybe next time on the customer experience, which is similar for me as the employee experience. But I really enjoyed your thoughts on how I don't know, technology fits into the culture, isn't a bolt on, but is part of the experience in the workplace. I think that's a really valuable perspective. Thanks for your time and your expertise as always today, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for IsAware, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one today. IsAware is powered by Intersoft Associates, who believes the more you know about your IT, the better. Visit us at intersoftassociates.com and schedule your free consultation to talk about how custom software can help your business.